I want no trouble. I'm here only to take pictures. I promise. Sorry, ducks. I'm sorry. I woke them all up and it's way too early. But I don't get to choose when the fog comes. This is beautiful. I think that photography in great part comes down to timing, being at the right place at the right time, right? That's why I believe it's incredibly important to be always ready, just in case the conditions we were waiting for happen, like this morning. You know, I think the bridge by itself is pretty already, but I think this photo would benefit a lot from including this tree here. I'm shooting this at 20mm 1.8. I'm focusing on the tree because the bridge, well, it's farther away, but also it's affected by the fog. So I think it's okay if it's slightly out of focus. If anything, it's going to emphasize the effect that the fog has in the scene. And now the same idea, but at 35mm, so we compress that background a little bit more, the bridge is a little bit bigger. Same compositional idea, same compositional approach, but very different final result. I like it. All right, now I just need to wait for a car to come on the bridge and that will look very cool. And for this photo, I'm gonna be using this filter. This is a diffusion filter. I'm gonna make a video about this pretty soon, but I think it's gonna add even more character and more mood to this photo. All right, the car came, but there are people on the bridge and that I don't want. So, gonna have to wait. Okay, there he comes, there he comes. Photo, 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 photo. Oh, it's a motorbike. Well, that works. Okay, now. Nice, that's a lot of light for sure. All right, I think I got it. This foggy morning wasn't much of a surprise because it's been, let's say, pretty hot around here lately. So when those big storms came last night and put all that water, all that humidity on the ground, I knew there was a good chance that it could be foggy the next day. But the only thing I had to do last night was to set an alarm because I was totally ready otherwise. My cameras were in the camera bag, the memory cards were empty, the batteries were full. And this is also where my only one rule when it comes to owning camera gear makes the most sense. Everything has to fit in the camera bag, so it's always ready. I don't have to think about it. I grab my bag and I go out. This is the right branch with the right leaves. So I'm gonna shoot this. I'm at f2 right now. This is the same idea as before. I'm gonna be focusing on the leaves and the building in the background is gonna be slightly out of focus. But again, that's only going to emphasize what's already there. The building is not very clear, it's not very sharp because of the fog. So I want to emphasize that. Now, you don't wanna overdo it either. So I'm gonna try f2.8 now. I like that there is a car in the background. You can see the lights. It's also very useful to have an idea of the kind of images that you want to make when the conditions finally happen, so you are not paralyzed thinking about where to go. I didn't know how foggy it was going to be this morning, so I had a plan A and a plan B. What I'm doing right now is plan A because it's foggy enough to do photography in town, which is usually not the case. This usually happens more in the winter time, not in the summer. Also, I have no idea how long this is going to last. It usually usually goes away pretty quick in the summer months, but you just never know. But I have a plan B for whenever that happens, because I know some locations where it'll be still foggy when it's not as much here. I love the reflection of the bridge with the lights. Let's see if I can get that with this lens. It's a person crossing. I'm gonna try to include it. It smells really good. It smells like freshly made bread. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm pretty hungry. Yeah, kind of. Still not very happy about it. I'm going to cross and photograph the other side, because we have the old bridge where we were earlier, but it's still pretty foggy. I'm surprised how foggy it is this morning. This is like a good winter foggy morning. It's almost a bit too foggy, and don't tell anyone I said that. Now, even though I like what I'm getting here, I like the conditions here, I'm constantly monitoring other locations using weather apps, but mostly webcams, because that gives me a lot of information about how the weather is evolving, especially with very fleeting conditions like fog, because it might be very foggy here, but there might be no fog at all just 2 miles away. All right, enough pictures of that bridge for today. Anyway, I am far from being perfect. Many times I find myself being unprepared because maybe I didn't charge the batteries. Maybe I don't have enough space in the memory card. Sometimes I forget my filters. But the idea is that we should strive to be better, to be that person that never forgets anything and that is always prepared. And the best way to get better at this quickly is to use lists. I have a few templates for different situations, all the way from a single day out to a several month road trip. They are incredibly useful to me because I rarely forget anything now. It took me a while to put them together because I had to keep adding things as I was forgetting them, but I think they are pretty good now, and the good news is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm gonna share a couple of templates on my Patreon page so you can download them and adjust them to fit your needs. You will never forget anything again as long as you check the list, of course. This is becoming an extremely rare, very foggy morning because it's almost 10 in the morning and it's still foggy. It's never this foggy this late in the summer. It happens more often in the winter time, but you know, because the days are shorter and sunrise is much later, photographing town is not as good as it was today because I had the town for myself for a couple of hours and that was awesome. I parked on the side of the road because there are two spots here that I want to photograph. One of them is right here and is one that I photographed a few days ago, but the conditions were not there, but they are today. It's perfect. I just need the subject to be willing to collaborate, I guess. All right, there they are. That's perfect. I need to find a better angle. I didn't bring the tripod with me, so I'm just gonna take the picture. Oh man, that was so beautiful. I think it might be the image of the morning. This is the other location I wanted to photograph. Over here, it might look familiar to you because I photographed it many times before, but this one doesn't have solar panels anymore. It used to. That is new, so I'm gonna take a photo of that. And I don't think I can do much more. There's some sheep over there, so some of the best photos I've taken here were with the sheep next to the solar panels. All right, I'm gonna mount the wide angle, the 20 millimeters. That should do it here. Yeah, I don't love it. It's not foggy enough. You see, all of them are looking at me now and complaining that I'm here. All right, this is where the fog meets the clear skies. This location might look familiar from a video I made, I don't know, a couple years ago, because this place has changed quite a bit. They cut down the trees from that side first, and this year they cut down the trees on the other side. Actually, they are still doing it right now. It's a little bit sad to see it this way without trees, but the upside is that we have amazing views everywhere now. Well, not right now, but the fog is burning off really quick, and usually I get something from up here every time that happens. That's why I came here. I guess the takeaway for today is that, yeah, we photographers might get lucky sometimes, but most of the time what might get mistaken for luck is just preparation, lots and lots of preparation. And it goes beyond having your camera ready to go by the door, even though that is very important, it's the first step. And without that, we're not gonna do anything. But it's about knowing your locations, having potential compositions that might work under certain conditions, and studying the weather forecast every day so we have an idea of what we might be able to do this week, this month, whenever. Please let me know of other things that you do that I might not be aware of to be ready for when the time comes, and do it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.